we suss that out a lot in the interview process. We ask people what their interests are, and even people who maybe don't have the direct manufacturing experience, they have related experience. So our world headquarters isn't far from the University of Connecticut, and
Okay.
they have a program there called FSAE. So they make this small, Formula One car, and they manufacture the parts. And we actually get a lot of interest from students coming through there because they see the holistic manufacturing process. And even if they don't have direct Mastercam experience, they have some level of manufacturing, technology experience, and they're really interested in the intersection between what we do and what they do for that program. So we see from like universities and things like that, we just naturally attract those curious people that
Hmm.
are, picture most of the people at Mastercam were the kids who would take something apart just to see how it works. That's what
Right.
I always say, and
Exactly.
and whether they get it back together or not, that's a different story. But we have a lot of curious minds that always want to see, how does this work? And that curiosity is such a driver in our business because we have to remain curious if we're going to continue to push the envelope in manufacturing.
Right. Yeah, and speaking of that curiosity and kind of engaging with some of these groups, what's going on with the hackathon you mentioned?
Yeah, so actually today we're doing a hackathon, not just at Mastercam, but across Sandvik Intelligent Manufacturing, with the goal of, we've got, I think, a dozen and a half or so teams around the globe that have gotten together, and they're looking to utilize AI to help improve end customer productivity and efficiency in not just tools like Mastercam, but some of the other business units as well. And so we've kind of set aside this day, and we've said, okay, everybody, get your teams together, come up with an idea. Everybody will have 5 minutes to pitch their idea at the end of the day, and we'll actually, award some of the groups based on what they come up with for ideas, and we may even greenlight some of these ideas into production if we feel like it's going to add that customer value. So it's an important thing to really give some of our engineers and some of our product development people the opportunity to step back and have that freedom to experiment,
Right.
and really try to come up with something new and novel. And so I'm really excited for it. We have a group of employees here in the world headquarters that I had lunch with, and they were telling me about some of their ideas and what they're working on. And it's the kind of stuff that really gets you energized when you're like, oh, if we can pull that off, that will be a great addition
Yeah.
for the software.
Yeah. Are you allowed to share any of these ideas?
Well, I wouldn't want to do that just yet. We have a process that we're going through internally, but I can say a lot of people are focused on generally leveraging large language models to increase end user productivity.
Yeah.
So whether this is through something similar to Mastercam Copilot, where you can ask the software questions and it can provide information, that's really a lot of the focus, because we do know there's that big knowledge gap in manufacturing. So the more somebody can interact directly with the software and get that information from the software, means there's less reliance on an industry veteran with that information. So I'm hearing
Right.
a lot of ideas about that, but of course also AI and automation. How can we use AI to automate workflows? I'm hearing a lot from the teams around, yeah, we're really investigating how can you easily put together three pieces of the process and let the AI figure out what data is needed from one process to the next, which can be a challenge for new people getting into manufacturing, right? I
Right.
mean, you go into Mastercam and you say, okay, I'm going to mill out a part. Well, there's 80 strategies sitting in front of you. How do you know which strategy to use, right?
Right.
And why do you
Right.
use strategy A versus strategy B? So we're seeing a lot of people trying to figure out, how can we provide more information, more context to allow people to be able to do that in a more productive way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that kind of flows back, or it goes back to the Copilot idea. Um, what I've noticed in a lot of these softwares that have the Copilot, it does something really, really annoying to me, where you ask a question and it takes you to a post feed of like, 50 related articles or FAQs. I'm like, that's not what I was looking for. I wanted you to direct me to that part of the software and tell me what to click. Like just something to think about when you're doing that. Like the Copilot should actually make it quicker and to like point you, not just point you in the direction, but actually take you to an action. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
experienced that.
And what I can tell you, Nate, is we got you covered. So with Mastercam Copilot, it will aggregate the information for you and say, okay, here's the information. But you can actually, through the Copilot, you can dictate commands. You can actually speak to Mastercam and be like, okay,
Oh, that's
Mastercam,
great.
do this.
Yep.
Even if you don't know the exact right command, Mastercam's using the AI in the background to say, hey, I think this is what the user was asking for,
Right.
right? And so that way we're trying to close that gap. So if somebody knows, maybe they're looking for a section view, but maybe they don't call it a section view, right? Maybe they're
Hmm.
like, hey, I want to see a cross section of my part. Well, we're still going to map that over to the section view. It's going to get you where you need to be in the software. So we're
Right.
trying to fill in those gaps as much as possible for people. And, obviously there's challenges. Mastercam's a global organization. How do we do this in a global environment, multiple languages? Those are
Yep.
some of the challenges that we need to overcome. But we've got a lot of that working right now in the base Mastercam product where, you don't have to say exactly the right things, because just to your point, if you don't give an AI exactly the correct inputs, you're not going to get what you
Right.
expected on the back end.
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, if there was a younger person that was, fascinated by the manufacturing design process and they wanted to start playing around with Mastercam, start learning, with the goal of maybe getting a job working for a manufacturer as a designer, what advice would you have for them? Are there some free resources they can do? Are there college classes they should be looking at, or tech school classes? What would you say?
Yeah, so first and foremost, you can get a home learning version of Mastercam from mastercam.com, where it will allow you to design and program to your heart's content. The only limitation is it can't actually allow you to produce G code to go to a machine. So it's something that people can get their hands on. We offer free educational curriculum, both directly through Mastercam and through some of our partners that are available on mastercam.com as well. So if you're interested in learning the digital aspects of manufacturing, highly recommend starting there. I would also encourage people to take a manual machining course, whether it's
Hmm.
a full program or just a night class, something along those lines, to get an appreciation for what the software is actually doing when the rubber hits the
Hmm.
road at the machine. Being able to understand, and this is something that I learned early on in the industry. A lot of machinists don't watch what the machine's doing; they listen to what the machine is doing, and
Right.
you don't get that appreciation unless you have that manual experience and you realize, oh, I'm running this tool a little too hot. I'm trying to be a little too aggressive. I'm getting a little too much chatter. Maybe I should cut back. So I always recommend people take at least, one manual machining course, whether it's on lathe or mill, to really understand that aspect of the project. But if you want to be really successful in the industry, I recommend at minimum a 2-year program around manufacturing technology. And if you can find an apprenticeship program, I highly recommend that. And I'm seeing that more and more from Mastercam customers where they realize the only way they're going to get the future talent is to build it themselves. So
Right.
they're offering more, paid apprenticeships to come in. And I was at a customer back in July over in the UK, and they offer a multi-year apprenticeship program where they bring 12 people in a year and they run them through everything from the manual machining process
Mm.
all the way through CNC and quality inspection, and everybody gets a rotation in the different areas of the business. Very, very well done, very professional operation. And those types of programs, while they won't guarantee employment at the end, a lot of times the employers are looking to fill their staff, and
Sure.
so there's a good opportunity there for somebody to land a career
Yep.
after finishing the apprenticeship program.
Yep. Yeah. They probably wouldn't go through the effort of having an apprenticeship program if they didn't want to hire. And if you didn't get hired after the apprenticeship program, you may need to take a look in the mirror.
Well, if you don't get hired by that company, I guarantee that apprenticeship program is going to add a lot of value to another business as well. So,
Right.
that's and young people coming into manufacturing today are in an enviable position because there are more openings than there's talent to fill those positions. So
Right.
people can really pick and choose what excites them about manufacturing. Is it, hey, I want to be manufacturing in the racing industry? Okay, there are opportunities out there for that. Or I want to be working in aerospace or defense. There's opportunities in every industry when it comes to manufacturing.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I love the way that you guys are working towards making it more approachable, easier to learn. Because yeah, as we continue to deal with, and the problem's not going away with the kind of a workforce shortage, we're gonna need ways to make it easier to get into manufacturing and more accessible. So that's very, very helpful. So I already kind of stated my, future of manufacturing design, which is rudimentary and uneducated. But what is your vision for the future of design and manufacturing?
My vision is if you can come up with the idea, we'll provide the tools to bring it to reality for you. We'll bring it to life for you. You know, that's really, I think, the thing that's going to empower the next generation is getting excited about seeing the end product
Yep.
more than the process. And so, for me, it's how do we create that full seamless digital twin process that really automates as much of the knowledge gap as possible. And while I encourage people to get on a machine and learn about the machines in the future, you may never need to do that. It may be as easy as, heating up food in a microwave. You don't need to be a world-class chef to do that. The machine handles a lot of it for you.
Right.
I'd love to see us get to that point somewhere in the future where manufacturing is accessible to everybody who has an idea that they want to produce something physical.